Hello everyone, this is Boricua Binks and welcome back to Let's Play Seduce Me to the Demon War. In the last episode, we had to kind of, we came clean with Diana that we're not sure if we're done with the angel thing. I don't think we are, according to what Seto was saying about the stone destiny and the fact that the angels are trying to get rid of me because I am ruining James's path, his future or whatever. And Seto said basically that if we slept with James, that would give him enough energy to deal with it himself. But I wasn't sure, and even she, like the character said, she didn't want to sleep with him just because they had to, you know? So I decided not to sleep with him. I just kissed him a lot, and hopefully that was enough energy. I don't know. I'm really nervous about that. And then we were able to continue our training even though we were technically supposed to be done, but we're like, no, teach us more. So yeah, that was interesting. So now let's continue on. I finally arrived at my room. But as soon as I entered, something wasn't right. I felt something was off just from stepping inside, but there was no one there. Was I just exhausted and imagining things? Use your new skills. I cautiously entered, looking around. Nothing seemed to be out of place visually, but my nerves felt on edge. What was happening? Hello? Despite feeling silly speaking to an empty room, I had to see if anything, or anyone, would respond. Maybe they were hiding. Maybe something was creeping around and would be surprised by my voice. There was no response, but I still didn't feel easy. Something was seriously wrong. Ooh. 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 I don't know. If we investigate, are we gonna get killed? I don't know if that's possible. If I leave the room and get help, maybe that would be the smarter thing to do. See, if this was me, common sense wise, I would just leave. But because it's a video game, I feel obligated to investigate. Jeez, I don't know. Let's just do it. Be brave. I shook my fear from my mind and took a breath. This was not something to be scared of. I was sure of it. I walked further into the room, only to hear the door slam shut. I turned around, seeing the door closed, making me panic a bit. Hey! Before I could walk over, however, I felt the energy in the room freeze. What? I looked around, now unsure of what to think. Whatever was here had succeeded in trapping me, so I needed to deal with whatever it was. Come on, girl, use your new skills. Baring my teeth and stepping further into the room, I scanned the room for any movement. Who's there? What do you want?
You do not belong here, human.
Ooh. An angel, maybe? The voice that replied sent fear rushing through my body. I looked around to try and pin down the direction of the voice, but it seemed to just echo around the room. Who are you? What do you want?
You meddle in things beyond your comprehension. Why must you attempt to toy with destiny?
I remained silent for a moment. This was an angel, speaking in English to me. I didn't know why it was speaking to me now, after they had attempted to wipe my memories and haunt me. Still, at least I would be able to learn more as to why. I glared into the room and continued to look around. I'm not toying with anything. James chose to stay with me, and he and I are going to be married.
Raestro's fate has been set. You have no place in it.
Before I could react, I felt myself become enveloped in chains. Oh no, are we gonna get a bad ending? I looked down to see my entire body wrapped in lines of white and gold chains, squeezing me tightly, and I winced in pain.
Your mind is protected. But the spell will not last. Once it has faded, you will be properly baptized.
Oh dear. That's not the kind of baptizing that I think is good. Not the kind that Catholics like me know about. No!
Love, what is going on in there?
James. I stared at the door, hearing James bang against it from the other side. The door was locked from the outside too? I glared at the door before shutting my eyes and calling out his true name. Raestro! Ooh, nice. With a flash of bright light, James appeared inside the room, shocked but suddenly enraged at seeing me in chains. Before he could rush forward to help me, however, his body was wrapped in chains as well. No!
Ah! What is this?
Uh-oh.
You cannot defy your destiny, demon.
My destiny?
Uh-oh. I pulled against the chains around me, hoping to somehow break free. Okay, girl, time to use your shadow ninjutsu. Come on, do it. Despite it being to no avail, I continued to thrash and pull.
Your destiny is to rule this world. You cannot escape it.
My destiny is of my own making!
Your destiny is set in stone.
The room around us began to glow and blind us, and we were forced to shut our eyes tightly. Gah!
No matter. We will cleanse you both soon enough.
I could feel the chains drag me beneath the ground into some sort of space. Cold waves rushed against my skin as I was dragged through a void I could not see. Where were we being taken? I didn't know how long I was out for. I had no way to tell how long I had been unconscious. All I knew was that James and I were in trouble. What was going to happen now that we were prisoners of the angels? Nervousness sank into my mind as I could do nothing but float in the empty darkness created by the angels who had confined me in a cocoon of chains. Slowly, my nerves came back to life, and I found myself awakening from the dark. What I didn't expect was to no longer feel chains around me, but soft, familiar silk beneath me. What the? I rubbed my eyes and slowly opened them to see a familiar gray ceiling. It couldn't be. No. Sitting up, my heart caught in my chest. I was back in my room. I was in the human world. How was this possible? Where was James? I jumped out of my bed and rushed for the door, pulling it open. James? I called out, but heard no response. I rushed to the lobby and looked around to see it still intact. The air felt familiar and real, and I wasn't imagining things. I couldn't have been. At the same time, I knew that the curse hadn't been lifted. I couldn't have returned to the human world unless I died. Was I dead? I began to panic. What was going on? Diana? My heart stopped at the sound of Diana's voice, more so from the moan that somehow reached my ears. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. I turned to where the sound came from, realizing the direction. That sounded like a sex moan. No. I do not want to see this. No. The library? I rushed over and quickly pushed the door open, running inside. What I saw made my heart tear instantly in two. Yep, I knew it. On the ground were Diana and James, both in demon form, embracing each other. James had his face buried in Diana's neck as she clawed at his back, arching against him and moaning into the air. This couldn't be real. This wasn't real. Before I could scream, time seemed to freeze, causing the room and world around me to become still. I looked around, realizing that I could still move, and turned away from the sight.
Do you know why I am showing this to you, human?
Because you're evil! F you, man. I feel like saying F you for real. I'm gonna say no, but still, F you. I had to be calm. This was an illusion, a dream. The angel speaking to me made that perfectly clear.
This was the time when Reichtor was destined to return to the Abyssal Plains. Isaiah would have convinced him to go home, and they would have consummated their engagement before returning to take their birthrights.
Ugh. No. No.
It is the truth. The only event that stopped it from happening was your voyeurism and intrusion.
I will not let him go.
How selfish. Humans are all selfish creatures. But that is to be expected when safety is handed to them on a silver platter.
The angel was toying with me, and I despised hearing every word it spoke. I turned back around and focused my attention on James, knowing that this was fake, and remembering the real scenario.
Do you understand the full consequences of your actions?
I regret nothing. Upon my final word, the room went black and began to reek of blood. I started to gag and covered my mouth and nose at the horrid smell. What was happening now? Where was the angel taking me? Wait, where did the angel take me? Okay. Uh-oh. I followed Diana's voice to see a crack of light slowly open, revealing Diana. Her face was painted with worry and concern, but upon opening the door, her expression shifted from concern to absolutely broken shock. From the light of the door, I was able to finally see the room I was in. Blood covered every surface, gore decorated every inch, and I was standing a couple of feet from the center, where 3 objects laid. Oh no. Thank you for not illustrating this. This is what Sarah was talking about then. It was when Diana's family was killed. Barely coated in blood, at the center were 2 broken adult-sized crowns and a smaller crown, large enough to barely fit a newborn's head. Diana's eyes darted throughout the room, both in disbelief and in utmost horror. She barely forced herself to step into the room, dropping to her knees in front of the items and bringing them to her chest.
No! No!
My heart broke at the sight of Diana. Tears were streaming down her face as she clutched the crowns against her chest. This game is so different from the first one. It really is. It's phenomenal, the writing, some of it.
Your selfishness cost a kingdom their beloved rulers, and a daughter her only family.
I couldn't say anything. I wanted to fight and shout back that I still didn't regret taking James away, but seeing Diana completely broken silenced any will to speak.
I see that you're beginning to understand.
Stay silent. I mean, yeah, what's done is done. I feel like to say what's done is done is so rude, but it's true. There's nothing I can do now. I remembered Diana's voice echoing in my memory. She had moved on and was building the rebellion to eradicate the Demon Lord. As terrible as this was the inciting incident that gave Diana the motivation to destroy the Demon Lord. I looked away from Diana, no longer wanting to see her grieve, and glared into the ceiling. The past cannot be changed.
The past is a reminder of our mistakes.
The past is a memory to look back upon, not to bury yourself within. Before my eyes, the room vanished once again, and I found myself surrounded by flames. What the?
Burn everything to the ground!
That laugh. It's such a generic laugh. I love it. I looked around. trying to find the source and direction of the voice. This was just an illusion, but the heat of the flame seemed too real to ignore or shake off.
This was the last thing many lives were forced to see before dying at the hands of a madman demon lord.
Stop it! I gripped my head, shutting my eyes tightly. I didn't want to see any more. I didn't want to be here any longer. If this was the angel's torture, this was truly unbearable.
Do you not see the price of your selfishness? You are the sole reason why millions of lives have been lost. You are the sole reason why an entire world is burning.
Yikes.
Your love causes death. Your love will do nothing but bring you pain and suffering for all of eternity. Every minute you hold on to this false hope is another child dying, another kingdom falling, another battle waged. Give him up.
All at once, my head became filled with cries and screams of people I didn't know of. Pain from men, women, and children echoed in my mind as I gripped at my head, wanting it to stop. The heat around me was unbearable. I could barely stand it. I'm sorry. I love him. I am sorry, I really am. But I love him, and he loves me. No, this wasn't happening. I needed to get out of here. I shouted to the skies, knowing the angel would hear me. However, I rushed forward through the flames surrounding me, hoping to break free somehow. What I managed to do was break through some sort of glass wall, destroying the world around me.
Love!
James! I fell to the floor, surrounded by shattered glass. Shaking my head, I quickly looked up, recognizing the sight before me from a nightmare. James was bolted to a wall with a burnt cross over his chest. He stared wide-eyed at me, uncaring of the bubbling heat dancing over the new scar. Oh, poor baby. As cloaked figures turned their heads towards me. I didn't have to look at them to know that they were angels. From what I knew, they had holy magic that could disable demon magic, so fighting with any form of magic I knew was not a good idea. However, I was a human. I had pure physical force. Do it, girl! Beat them down! I quickly jumped back up and squared off, ready to take on my husband's captors. Well, technically y'all are not married yet. You should have said fiancé, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. In an act of supreme rage, James's body began to glow an intense gold color, the light flickering around his body like a raging flame.
Enough!
There he goes. Aw, too bad he has that scar now. Poor baby. Within a matter of seconds, light suddenly engulfed the room, blinding everyone in it. I covered my eyes with my arms, trying to block the light to no avail. As it finally faded, I looked up to see James in his demon form, with eyes fully glossed in gold.
This ends now!
Ooh. The cloaked figures quickly conjured chains in their hands, but not fast enough to avoid James forming a familiar-looking gold pistol in his hand and shooting down his attackers. What shocked me was how they fell. Instead of them falling to the ground, as the bullet ripped through the cloaks, the fabric burnt away and the ash vanished into the air as if blown away by wind.
Filthy demon! Your acts shall not go unpunished!
How was he able to hurt them, though? I'm kind of confused about that.
Send every angel in heaven at me! I will not let you touch her again!
Ooh, so badass. You're so cool, James. You're so cool, baby. Taking the chance, I rushed over to James and wrapped my arms around him at last. My body felt at ease while holding him as he wrapped his free arm around my waist and held me close. I could feel power radiating off his skin, tickling my nerves. I still wish you could have let her have her moment and kick all their butts. Let me be the hero. As a large gold pentagram appeared at our feet, a third cloaked being stepped up from the far end of the room. stepping over the glass I had broken through and fallen on. James tightened his grip around me and aimed at the figure.
You cannot escape your destiny.
As it finished, James fired a shot at the angel. The bullet ripped into the cloak, but the figure did not die like his companions. James didn't seem to care.
That was your one warning.
We do not fear you.
Come after her again, and I will teach you the meaning of fear.
Ooh. With an angry snarl that reverberated through the room, the cloaked figure bent forward towards us, showing its veiny hands. From its back sprouted two large and proud white wings, riddled with hundreds of gorgeously placed feathers. However, before the angel could lunge for us, we sank into the ground at last, escaping into darkness. James gripped me tightly as I held on to him, guiding me through the void we were in. Into the darkness we both sank. I shut my eyes, scared of where we were going, but knowing that everything was all right now that James was with me. I was safe in his arms. When we finally came out of the dark, we were standing in the middle of the war room, where everyone seemed to have gathered.
Whoa!
Hey, what the hell?
Oh my god, you're all right.
James and I looked around, seeing the shocked and surprised faces of the rebel leaders, the Incubi brothers, and their wives. However, looking to Diana, her face instantly melted from surprise to anger. Whoa! Whoa! What was that? James released me as Diana suddenly marched at him, staring at her with a blank expression. The expression stayed as Diana slammed her palm across his cheek, the sound reverberating through the room.
Hey!
What the?
Do you both realize how long you have been missing?
Diana, that's not nice to slap him like that.
2 days.
Do you realize how many assets we have spent in preparing to find you both?
Ah, okay, I see why she's angry, but still. Diana.
Do not apologize! I don't want to hear it!
Diana turned and walked back to her spot, crossing her arms and curling her shoulders over herself. Oh, she's such a tsundere. She was worried.
If you two had died, this war would have been for nothing.
It wouldn't be for nothing. Y'all gotta kill this damn demon lord. No matter what, you know? I frowned, understanding what she meant. Because of us, the war happened, so we had to take responsibility. However, now was not the time to get angry. Diana, we're back now. That's all that matters. Once again, silence took control of the air before Diana took in a deep breath and let out a sigh, relaxing at last. The very last... excuse me, I like the music. The very last thing I wanted was for Diana to explode about this.
Were they angels?
Yes.
Did you kill them to escape?
2 of them.
Diana turned her head and looked at James in slight surprise.
You realize that killing angels of heaven will put a bounty on your head, correct?
I silently gulped, remembering the angel swearing to punish James for what he did. James didn't seem to be fazed as he wrapped an arm around me.
Let them come. I will not let them hurt her again.
My cheeks warmed a bit as I looked up at James, seeing him smile lovingly at me. I smiled back, seeing the deep and pure emotions he felt for me within his eyes. He would protect me with all of his might, and I would be with him for as long as I could. With a sigh, Diana rubbed her temple and turned around, glaring at me and James. Her look could kill, but I knew that beneath her anger she was relieved to see us. In a strange way, I could see the amusement behind her hard glare.
Well, now that everyone is accounted for, we are set. We are ready to march on to the Demon Lord's castle and end this once and for all. Are you two prepared?
Heck yeah! The realization of the date hit me. If we had been missing for 2 days, then we were an evening away from heading out to the final battle. Fear quaked my core for a moment, but my embrace with James shook it away.
We leave in the morning?
That's the plan. Get some rest, you two. You both need it.
Without letting anyone interfere or interrupt her, Diana turned and left the room. I smiled a bit, knowing that deep in her heart she cared about us. The other rebels left as well, most likely going to prepare themselves.
Dude, what's on your chest?
Unfortunately, that scar, man. I feel bad. Sam pointed at the cross on James's chest, making everyone look at it. I bit my lip, but James waved his hand dismissively.
A battle scar, nothing more.
Oh,
A scar that still needs to be examined.
yeah. Eric walked over, along with Damien, and both demons began to investigate it.
All right. Love, you can go back to the room if you want. I'll be there shortly.
I nodded. Feeling sudden exhaustion hit me hard. I yawned and waved to the others before I walked out of the room, making my way toward our bed. I began to make my way back to my room, but I stopped as I heard the sound of whispered voices sneak out through a barely opened door.
So, we're all in agreement?
We have to. We don't have any choice anymore.
It will be for the better, I'm sure.
Indeed.
I peeked into the room to see the interior of the library where the 4 rebel leaders stood in a circle. Sergeant leaned against the fireplace mantel, while Rabbit and Shadow sat in the 2 empty chairs. Faye, however, floated to and fro from side to side in anxiousness. What were they talking about? I don't know. I'm kind of concerned. I was so engrossed in figuring out what was happening in the room that I didn't notice a figure coming up behind me and pushing me into the room. Gah!
Sir, I found your student eavesdropping.
Ah, that's not good.
I'm not surprised.
I have a habit of it. I grimaced, now out in the open. The 4 stared at me with cold eyes, as if they were ready to send me back to the human world as a corpse rather than going through with the siege. I looked up at all of them as I slowly rose to my feet, eyeing each leader, and as I considered running for the door. However, they each looked to each other in contemplation.
Say, you didn't hear anything, did you?
I hope you all are not going to betray us. No, I swear.
What was the last thing you heard?
Something about it being for the better? I don't remember. Oh crap. What do I put? Are y'all gonna kill me? About it being for the better? What? I shouldn't have said anything. I suddenly felt the guards of each leader behind me, readying their weapons. What the hell? Were they seriously going to kill me for walking by and eavesdropping?
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Hold on, guys!
I felt the guards back away from me slowly, most likely still cautious of me. I let out a small sigh, happy that I wasn't going to die, at least not immediately. Rabbit, however, looked to me with an ear twitching in curiosity.
Let us ask first. Do you know what has been truly happening with Diana?
Nope. I should have had her as my sensei. I probably would have figured out more. Ah, well. I enjoyed my time with Shadow still. I looked to Rabbit, knowing what she meant. Diana had been acting oddly, and it was not boding well. The more I saw her, I could tell that something was seriously weighing her down or influencing her words. Yeah, but what does that have to do with this meeting? As I answered, the other demons looked once again at each other before Shadow stepped forward nonchalantly.
Let's not play the ignorance game. We're going to assassinate the succubus when the war is over.
What? No! You leave Diana alone! What?
Oh, what the fuck?
Way to just blurt it out!
There's no use in hiding it. We don't know how much she has heard.
I became massively confused. Why were they going to kill her? How were they even going to do it? Why? What good would come out of killing her? Rabbit stood and walked to the fireplace, staring into the open flames. I could tell I was about to get an answer, so I listened intently, wanting to know why they were planning Diana's murder.
Diana, we fear, has become corrupted.
Hmm? Corrupted? What do you mean?
Meaning, she's going batshit crazy like the Demon Lord.
I furrowed my eyebrows. That couldn't be. She seemed mostly fine, save for a few instances here and there. Sergeant, reading my face, pushed himself off of the mantel and stood up straight, reminding me of his power with his stance.
Human, you hate the Demon Lord as much as we do, correct?
I glared at Sergeant's stupid question. Of course I hated him. He had tracked me here and forced me and the ones I loved to join this war. There was no reason to even remotely like him. At my glare, Faye swooped in between me and Sergeant, waving their arms frantically.
Listen, we're not trying to make you mad, but, well...
This is ridiculous.
Shadow stood from his seat, now clearly irritated, and stepped towards me.
The succubus has gone mad, and if we don't end her life before she takes the throne, then she will become as mad as the Demon Lord. There is no saving her. Understand?
No, Diana.
Oh, come on, Shadow! Seriously?
No, this is beyond unnecessary. All three of you are complicating the matter when all that needs to be stated is the truth.
But how can that be? How is Diana mad like the Demon Lord? None of this made sense. Diana seemed mostly right in her head. However, she was strong enough to lead an army and help me survive until now. She even aided the incubi. These weren't the actions of a madwoman. Shadow rolled his eyes and went back to his seat as Faye put their hands behind their back, swaying a bit in the air.
Well, here's the thing. Here in the demon world, emotions and stuff can be uber powerful. Things like extreme grief or euphoria can even become energies on their own, while other feelings become, well, they can become very, very bad things.
Like madness?
Yeah. Madness is more than just a head-mind thingy. Here in this world, it's like a leech or a virus. When a demon catches it, madness just grows and grows until it consumes them. Like it did with the Demon Lord.
Taking the new information in, I looked to the floor, thinking of the Demon Lord and how psychotic he was said to have become. He waged wars, and apparently enjoyed burning down kingdoms and slaughtering the innocent. If that was how far madness would take a demon, then I feared for anyone who was capable of falling into it.
You can become mad in multiple ways. By being born mad or being infected by it. Diana has fought the Demon Lord head on multiple times during the past 10 years. It was inevitable that she would catch the affliction.
You can catch madness? How is that possible?
We don't know, but this wouldn't be the first time someone who used to be sane went mad because they were around another crazy demon.
There was an uneasiness in the room. Something told me that none of them believed that was the true cause. There's more, isn't there?
Huh?
I became bold. If Diana had to die, then there had to be a solid reason, and the madness excuse wasn't enough. Why were they planning it if none of them truly believed it? It's not just because she's mad, isn't it? Something else is wrong. The rebel leaders became silent, letting the tension lay in the air in plain view and giving me my answer. I was right. There was more to the story, which we will hear in the next episode. This is getting really interesting. I wasn't expecting this little side story thing going on. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this as much as I am. And until next time, have a nice day. Bye!